The new iPhone SE 2022 is meant to be Apple's most affordable iPhone model, but it's still in premium price territory. It obviously has an old-fashioned look, but it also has modern 5G network connectivity. Apple has used its most powerful A15 Bionic mobile SoC, but this phone also has a relatively small, low-resolution screen that means you probably can't do everything you might want to do. You do get premium features such as wireless charging and an IP rating, but then again, there's only a single rear camera, which might feel limiting. This phone seems to be a bundle of contradictions, so is there really even a market for it? I've spent quite a lot of time with the new iPhone SE 2022 to answer exactly that question, especially for buyers in India. Here is our full review. The new iPhone SE 2022 might confuse buyers. It's priced starting at 43,900 rupees for 64GB, which means even the base storage option competes with the likes of the OnePlus 9R T 5G, Vivo V23 Pro 5G, Oppo Reno 7 Pro 5G, and others. If you want more storage, you'll have to pay 48,900 rupees for 128GB or 58,900 rupees for 256GB. That's as much as many of today's top-end Android phones with extensive features and capabilities. One big downside of the iPhone SE 2022 is its small screen. All content, including the iOS UI, feels cramped and constrained. If you're used to today's mainstream phones, the 4.7-inch panel on the new iPhone SE 2022 will feel quaint. This is a real limiting factor when it comes to enjoying video or games, and typing might be a bit of a challenge if you have big hands. Maps, creative apps, document readers, and even web pages can't show very much content at a time. However, this could be the iPhone SE 2022's biggest selling point, especially for people who don't like change or who can't get used to gesture navigation. You also won't find something this slim, light, and modern in the Android world. You might like being able to use this phone one-handed. The big home button below the screen has an integrated Touch ID fingerprint sensor, just like older iPhones, and this is an extremely convenient feature that I have missed. The power button on the upper right and the volume buttons on the left are within easy reach. A tray on the right can hold a single nano SIM, but this phone can work with one or even two eSIMs. Apple's proprietary Lightning port can be found on the bottom, with a speaker on one side and a grill on the other for symmetry. As expected, there's no 3.5mm audio jack. The front and the back are made of glass while the frame is aluminum. This phone has an IP67 rating for water and dust resistance. It's available in 3 colors: Starlight, Midnight, and Product Red. You don't get a charger in the box, only a Type-C to Lightning cable, a SIM eject pin, and a sticker. Although it's clearly at the bottom of Apple's current lineup, the new iPhone SE 2022 doesn't suffer in terms of processing power. It has the same A15 Bionic SoC as the entire iPhone 13 family. There's 4GB of RAM, which might not seem like much, but works well enough for iOS devices. The A15 Bionic SoC means you get 5G network support. Now, this might not be a big deal in India right now, but it could matter a year or two down the line. Also, while there's no firm promises, Apple currently delivers iOS updates for devices up to 7 years old, so that should deliver some peace of mind. Apple also promises better battery life. 20-watt fast charging is supported, and Qi wireless charging works at up to 7.5 watts. Apple's ecosystem means you'll get long-term iOS updates, security, and privacy protection, though at the cost of some flexibility. There's no invasive advertising, but you do get a lot of apps that aren't necessarily useful. iMessage, FaceTime, iCloud backups, AirPlay, and the Find My network might matter a lot to iPhone users who need an upgrade. On the other hand, iOS still lacks several features that are common in the Android world, such as the ability to run 2 instances of some apps, a private space for your sensitive data, UI personalization, file system access, and much more. One of Apple's most audacious moves with the iPhone SE 2022 is the fact that it only has a single 12-megapixel rear camera. Even bargain basement Android phones offer a lot more flexibility, so Apple is really betting on simple yet high-quality stills and video. There's also a 7-megapixel f2.2 camera on the front. Thanks to the A15 Bionic SoC, photographic styles are supported but cinematic mode is not. You might also be surprised that there's no night mode. Portrait mode and portrait lighting do work even with only a single camera on the rear and front. Photos shot in the daytime usually looked good with superb detail and exposure. Colors were accurate and not overblown at all. Depth of field was pleasant and looked natural even without portrait mode. Close-ups weren't always in focus though. Things weren't as great when it came to shots taken at night. Photos were relatively bright, but detail was lost and noise was unavoidable. Faces had natural textures and skin tones came out looking good. Background separation in portrait mode was surprisingly accurate for a single camera. Selfies taken at night were a bit soft and noisy, good enough for casual social media, but that's about it. 1080p video shot in the daytime was relatively dull, but motion was smooth. 4K video looked a little punchier and crisper, but I saw slight judder in playback. Detail was quite weak at night, and 4K video exhibited some inconsistencies and mild warping. This phone has a small screen with a low resolution and standard refresh rate, so even running today's heaviest apps and games shouldn't stress the powerful A15 Bionic SoC. The raw performance is clearly there. This phone scored very well in benchmarks, but its back got warm enough to be uncomfortable while running these tests. It also got slightly warm when playing games and using the camera for a long time. Asphalt 9 Legends looked great and gameplay was perfectly smooth even with rain and other graphical effects. Call of Duty Mobile was a little hard to play with the on-screen controls all cramped into a small space, but it also ran smoothly. The screen is small and not as crisp as I would have liked, but it works for casual entertainment. You do get stereo speakers too. Games and movies aren't really immersive and heat is an issue, but you can still have fun. I was able to use this phone for an entire day and the battery was still at around 20%. Our HD video loop battery test ran for 11 hours 46 minutes, which is a huge improvement over the previous model. You don't get a charger in the box, but using a 30-watt MacBook Air adapter, I observed this phone charging to 32% in 50 minutes and 87% in an hour. The new iPhone SE 2022 is old on the outside but quite new on the inside. It's way too expensive to be an entry-level phone, but supports nearly all Apple's apps, accessories, and services. You don't get a modern smartphone experience, and for some people that might be a good thing. The main target audience is people upgrading from an iPhone 8 or older who want something familiar and easy to use. In the US, it makes sense to offer 5G to this demographic right now, but in India we don't even have these networks yet. Moreover, the older iPhone SE 2020 continues to remain available at a significantly lower price and can do pretty much everything else that this phone can do. In India, the iPhone XR still sells for around the same amount and the iPhone 11 for a little more. Both have larger screens and Face ID plus better battery life, but they are bulkier. The iPhone 12 mini has been on sale for less than what the new iPhone SE 2022 costs, so if you want a phone that's modern and still compact, that's another great option. And that doesn't even begin to cover all the fantastically capable Android models you could currently buy at this price level. You'll find full reviews of many of them at gadgets360.com. In short, you have a lot of options if you want to buy a new smartphone in India for around 45,000 rupees, even if you really want an iPhone. The new iPhone SE 2022 is caught between its predecessor and its siblings, and for many people, it isn't a clear-cut winner either in terms of features or price. So thanks for watching. That was our full review, and do stay tuned to Gadgets 360 for all things tech.